wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you are well. Myself, Nabiha Nadeem. So, in this particular video, we are going to discuss a topic which is related to biology and one of the most basics and important chapters of biology, and that is the cell, the structural and functional unit of all living beings. Okay, so let's begin with the video. Talking about a cell wall, because in this video we'll be dealing with a cell wall that is a part of the cell. So we'll be discussing what cell wall is, where it is found, the origin, the composition and the structure, but on a generalized basis, not so deep, because this video will give you an idea about the cell wall on a general basis. But if you want me to discuss about the structure in detail, so do let me know in the comments down below, because this video is based on the students of class 8th 9th maybe. Okay, as you can see this picture right in front of you, that is a cell, a cell, right? So here, where do you find the cell wall? Yeah, this outer boundary is the cell wall. Acha, can you identify if this is an animal cell or a plant cell? You might be wondering, like, how can we identify if this is a plant cell or an animal cell? It's pretty easy. When I said that this cell contains a cell wall, at the same moment you can just guess by this one sentence that this is a plant cell and not an animal cell. Now the question arises, why? Yup, alright. So let me tell you the reason why the cell wall is present only in plant cells but not in animal cells. Because if you see the capabilities of plants and animals, you may come up with one point, and that is plants cannot move from one, even though both of them are plants and animals, both of them are living, but plants cannot move, they're static, they can't move from one place to the other. But talking about animals can move from one place to the other very easily. Okay, so when it comes to take shelter during harmful weather conditions or to protect themselves from attack of pathogens and mechanical injuries, animals can do that at ease. No, they can provide themselves with shelter or protect themselves and hide themselves. But what about the plants? Once you root them or plant them in a particular area, they can't move away from there, right? So that is why they need somebody, as a protector, somebody who can protect them from various attack of pathogens, invaders, mechanical injuries and a lot more. So who is that protecting soul? Yeah, they are the cell wall. Now let's discuss what the cell wall is. Okay, talking about a cell wall, it's present only in plant cells. Plant cells have a cell wall surrounding cell membrane. Okay, cell wall is an outer, rigid, protective and supportive covering of a plant cell. It lies outside the plasma membrane. If you see an animal cell, so the outermost covering of an animal cell is plasma membrane. But talking about plant cells, in animal cells it's plasma membrane, but in plant cells the outermost layer is not plasma membrane, it is the second layer, but the outermost layer is the cell wall, because it needs to be protected from the invaders and all. Okay, so cell wall is an outer, rigid, protective and supportive covering of plant cells. It lies outside the plasma membrane. It is made up of cellulose. It is composed of cellulose. Okay, now what does this cellulose do? Why is it composed of cellulose? So cellulose provides mechanical strength and rigidity to the cell. Okay, so this cell wall, talking about its functions, like what does the cell wall do? What are the major functions it performs, and how does this aid or help the plant cells? So let's discuss them now. So it provides a definite shape to the cell. Obviously, just think, like for example, on your biology notebook or any other notebook, when you are trying to differentiate between two things, you draw a table, right? Provide a boundary to that to make it look more precise, and it gives a particular shape to your answer, and provides a proper shape to your answer, and it looks better as well. So the similar case is here also. Like, it provides a definite shape to the cell. Obviously, it is rigid. It is, it provides mechanical strength. So it is, kind of non-living and, complex in structure, that it provides a proper shape to the cell. Okay. Second point, and the most important point, is it protects the cell membrane and the internal structures from the attacks of pathogens and mechanical injuries, as I already discussed this point. Okay. It is freely permeable, allowing the substances to move in and out of the cells without hindrance. This cell wall is considered to be freely permeable. As we talk about the cell, plasma membrane or the cell membrane, talking about that, so it is selectively permeable. That is allowing only certain substances to move in and out of the cell. But talking about the cell wall, it is freely permeable. It allows all the substances and all to move in and out of the cell. But there is a condition as well. On generalized basis, talking on generalized basis, cell wall is considered to be freely permeable. But there are certain cases in which the cell wall also stops a few substances from moving inside or outside the cell. Obviously, why will a structure or the one of the content of the cell itself allow a harmful invader to get into the cell? Obviously not. So sometimes it stops a few harmful substances from entering the cell. Even though on generalized basis, it is freely permeable. Okay. Now the fourth point is it provides rigidity and mechanical strength to the cell. As I already discussed this point, it's very okay. Now that we know what cell wall is and what are its functions, let's know now what is its structure. We won't go in very detail, but I'll give you an idea on a generalized basis only, because this video is mainly focusing on the students of class 8th and 9th. So let's discuss the structure now. Okay, focus on this picture now. This picture shows the outer structure of the cell wall. Focus on this now. This is an image or the figure of cell walls of two adjacent cells. As you can see that there is a very thin delicate layer present between the two. See, this is the one cell. Let me just clarify. This is the one cell wall of one cell and the cell wall of the other cell. Now you may see that there is one middle layer which is joining or attaching both the two cells. This is called the middle lamella. Middle lamella is termed as the cementing or the binding material of the cells, because it binds or connects two adjacent cells together. And what is this middle lamella composed of? Yup, it is composed of calcium pectate. Okay, it's composed of calcium pectate. Alright? Okay. Okay, now inner to the middle lamella, we have the primary cell wall. Look at this layer. This is the primary cell wall. Now this primary cell wall, it is the outermost layer of the cell. In a few cases, we have the middle lamella as the outermost layer. It's actually not the outermost layer. It is the layer attaching or combining, keeping the two adjacent cells together. Alright, okay. Now the outermost layer of the cell wall itself is the primary cell wall. Okay, so outermost layer of the cell wall, in the case of immature meristematic and parenchymatous cells, it forms the only cell wall. So this is a certain case when you'll discuss about the tissues and all, so you'll get this point clarified as well, that in few cases, the immature meristematic and parenchymatous cells, it forms the only cell wall. Okay, just get this point aside. Let's discuss the primary cell wall. So as you can see, it is kind of thin in structure. It is kind of thin in structure as compared to the secondary. See, this entire portion is the secondary cell wall, but this is the primary cell wall. As compared to this is thinner, right? Obviously. So this is, as compared to that, this is thinner. Okay, so it is thinner and permeable. As I already told you, that the plant cell wall is non-living and it is freely permeable. But this primary cell wall, this can be impermeable also in a few cases. You know why? You might be wondering, if this is freely permeable, then how can it be, impermeable at times? Let me tell you how. Do you know about cuticle? I know you know about that. Like, for example, if I talk about a leaf, so leaves of the epidermal part of the leaves are sometimes covered with cuticle. Cuticle is the waxy coating, provided or present on the surface of the leaves. So in such cases, it blocks the permeability of the cell wall and makes it impermeable. So the same case is with the primary wall as well. It becomes impermeable at times when due to the presence of cuticle. Okay, now that we know like what a primary wall is, because primary wall is composed of microfibrils and all, so it becomes a deep and kind of complex structure, because cell wall is kind of complex structure. So if I keep on discussing, if I go into deep and discuss about microfibrils and all, it will become complex, because this video is kind of restricted to class 8th and 9th only, so I'm not going in that deep. Now talking about the secondary wall. Now you can see that secondary wall is also divided into three parts, that is S1, S2 and S3. Okay, so secondary wall is thick. Okay, as compared to this is thicker. It is permeable and lies near the plasma membrane, because after the secondary cell wall, right here we have the plasma membrane. Okay, now it is formed by the deposition of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin. So I think this information is regarding all this is appropriate and sufficient for all of you. And you may just keep in mind that cell wall is only present in plant cells and not in animal cells. The reason I've already told you. And this is the structure of the cell wall. We'll discuss about the complex structure soon one day, inshallah. But right now you can just manage with this stuff, and you can just see the picture, review the picture, you can take screenshots or anything, whatever you feel like. So this is it for today. If you face any problem or any question you have, you may mention it in the comments down below. I promise that I'll answer them. And see you in the next video very soon, inshallah. Until then, goodbye. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.